Hi folks, and welcome to Truck King. Today I've gathered two of the most stylish off-road half tons that you can buy. That right there is the Ram Rebel GT, and that is the GMC Sierra AT4X. And in this video, we're gonna compare all the features and then go on a long drive and find out which one of these big V8s is more efficient. On the one side of this comparison, we have the Ram Rebel GT. Now, when you go for the Rebel package, you're getting those Goodyear Wrangler Duratrack all-terrain tires, you're getting Bilstein shock absorbers, and a rear locking differential, along with some interior upgrades. Now, take a step above that and check the GT box, and then you get all of the cool styling stuff here. So with the package, you get GT decals, a leather-wrapped shift knob, a steering wheel mounted shift controls, those are paddle shifters. You're also getting a Mopar cold air intake system and a passive cold end exhaust. Now, Ram doesn't actually publish a horsepower bump, but there's gotta be a little bit extra power thanks to what comes under the hood and at the back end of the truck. You're also getting performance pages on the inside in the infotainment system, along with power adjustable pedals, premium overhead console, rear door accent lighting, and under seat lighting. So some of those sort of more luxurious features, but honestly, going for the GT package is all about making this Rebel look better. What do we get over here in the Sierra AT4X? Well, this is the top of the Sierra lineup, so this thing is all about off-roading in luxury. Now, when it comes to the off-roading side of things, you're getting, well, the same set of tires we have over there on the Ram, Goodyear Wrangler Duratracks. Now, you're getting a full suspension setup on this truck from Multimatic, and you're getting a rear locker and a front locker. That's definitely one of the areas where this truck sets itself apart from that Ram, is the fact that you're getting a front locking differential. Now, the other things you're getting, of course, are just styling, and I can't believe that it worked out so well. We have two gorgeous blue trucks today, so why don't you drop into the comments right now and let me know which one of these two trucks looks better. Let's talk towing and payload, and I have to tell you that I think General Motors is the best company right now for identifying what the tow rating is on your specific vehicle, and that's with this handy dandy sticker. This is VIN specific, so it's only for this truck, and it's going to tell you exactly what your towing and payload ratings are. If you want to know what they are, for payload, we're talking about 1,366 pounds, and then for tow rating, it's 9,000 pounds even. Now, Ram, in my opinion, is second best at giving you your tow ratings, and you can see their handy dandy VIN lookup tool right here. So you punch in the VIN on your Ram 1500, it spits out your specific numbers. In this case, we're talking about 1,250 pounds of payload and 11,150 pounds of towing. Sadly, I have to interrupt myself right here because Ram's VIN lookup tool is actually not perfect. Recently, an article published by my friends over at TFL Truck showed exactly that. A number of Ram owners reported that their tow ratings were changing, mostly being downgraded all of the sudden on the VIN lookup tool. Not only that, but doing things like changing the case of the letters would change the numbers that the tool would spit out. So I actually reached out to Ram, first of all, to confirm that tow ratings did not change, and they did confirm that. So no, none of those numbers actually changed, but the tool was not perfect. They took it down for a little while. As of publishing on this video, the tool was back up, but I could not get it to work using the VIN on my dad's Ram 2500. So sadly, like I said, I love this tool, but it's not working properly. So I think this once again reinforces the fact that General Motors right now is the best in the business for identifying towing and payload on that specific truck with this sticker right here. And yes, now let's go for a long drive and see how these engines do. And now, folks, here we are driving in this Sierra and the Ram. So Matthew's just ahead of me in the Rebel, and I'm back here in the GMC. So our thinking with these two trucks is that these are two big V8s, which basically haven't been touched for a number of years. Now, Ram did add e-torque to its engine, so we do have that today. General Motors, when they redesigned this 6.2, they gave it cylinder deactivation. So we have a couple things going for us here, Matt. Plus, we both have stop-start on our engines, so that will help us a little bit as well. But honestly, of all of the new powertrains, these two, they're not the most efficient, and they haven't been designed to be the most efficient, which is why I'm curious to see which one does better today.
Yeah, it should be a good run. I also have, I noticed on my way up here that I have an eco light that comes on and off, and I do believe that that's my 4-cylinder deactivation, because I can feel something drop out when that light comes on. So in addition to stop-start, mild hybrid, and everything else, I also do have a cylinder cut. So I think this is a really good comparo.
Yeah, so the other reason why it's great is that we have the exact same tires, and that doesn't happen very often. And that only happened here because these trucks just get these tires as standard. They both get Goodyear Wrangler Duratracs. So we both have the same all-terrains. It's -2 Celsius. That's another important factor. So it's a little chilly out here today. And we're going to run the exact same 100-kilometer loop. You saw we started at a gas station. We're going to finish at the gas station as well. So then we can measure our own fuel economy. Now, the numbers I have to spit out are what are the official ratings. And officially, the Ram is better than the GMC. That Rebel is rated at about 19 miles per gallon combined. This GMC is 17 miles per gallon combined. So even on paper, the Ram has me. Now, to be fair, Matt, I have more horsepower and torque than you do, but in the real world, this truck doesn't feel that much more powerful than the Ram. That Ram gets up and goes just fine.
And mine sounds better too.
It really does. Now, of course, you have a custom exhaust that comes with the GT package, but even still, it sounds incredible. And next to the GMC, it makes this Sierra sound really quiet and tame. And you know what? We might as well throw those clips up now. Take a listen to both of these trucks. So as we drive along here on our fuel economy loop, let's just discuss these two trucks, Matt, and I want to start with a features comparison. Let's just look at what one truck has and what the other truck does not have. So we can start with off-roading, and I did mention this one, but I think it's important to mention again. So Matt, I have front and rear lockers. What kind of lockers do you have?
I have my rear locker, and that's about it.
Okay, so I got you beat there. Now, we got the same tires, so let's move to the interior because that's where they're going to set each other apart. So inside, Matt, I have a rear camera mirror. You have one of those?
No, I just have a piece of glass that reflects what's behind me.
Okay, old school mirror. I have wireless cell phone charging.
I do not have wireless cell phone charging, but I do think I've got you beat on USB ports. I've got 4 down below the radio. I've got an additional one in my center console, plus a 12-volt DC up top and a 120-volt in the console. So I think I can charge more things, not wirelessly.
You're right about that. I only have one USB-A and one USB-C. They're both in the console, and then I also get that 3-prong plug. But yeah, it's actually surprising how few USB ports are in this GMC. Well, my seat will give me a massage. What about your seat?
My seat will warm and cool my buns, but it will not massage them.
Okay, what else? I have paddle shifters.
I also do have paddle shifters.
Okay, there you go. I think that's probably about it. Oh, what about a digital gauge cluster? What do your gauges look like?
I do have 2 analog gauges for my RPM and my vehicle speed. However, I do have a really nice screen in the middle that is completely customizable, which is nice.
Okay. Yeah, and it looks nice up there too, although again, I have fully digital gauge cluster back here. I think people watching are probably already understanding what we're getting at. The GMC has more. I have more of just about everything. I have more of the luxurious features, and I have more of the off-road features. The only thing I can think of that you have more of is tow rating, but besides that, I also have more power and more payload. And you know what, Matt? I also have a bigger price tag. Okay, folks, we're now 54 kilometers into our 100-kilometer loop. Time for a truck switch. All right, how's it going over there, Matt?
It's good.
All right.
It's good. Nice snowy day.
Yeah, it's a little chilly.
Some icy roads, but that's all right.
Yeah, we're actually just stopped at a ski hill here. Folks up there having some fun. All righty, into the Rebel. And away we go. And now, folks, here I am in the Rebel, and Matthew is up ahead of me once again in the GMC Sierra. So we did our driver switch right at 50 kilometers, right at the halfway point of our drive, and that's also going to help to keep our fuel economy numbers consistent so that both Matt and I had our driving styles in both vehicles. So let's just talk a little bit more about how we've been driving today so you understand the fuel economy loop. We're aiming for a 100-kilometer loop. We did about, I would say, 35 kilometers on the 400 series highway, doing 110 kilometers per hour, and we did use the cruise control, so we did our best to keep that as even as possible. And then we got off the highway, and we've been here on secondary highways running between 80 and 90 kilometers per hour. And then there's been a couple side roads as well, snowy side roads where we were closer to 50, and then a bunch of towns where you come into town and you got to go to the stop sign, and we even hit a school bus. So we got a bunch of...
It is late afternoon. All the kids are on their way home. We've hit several school buses this afternoon.
So yes, again, you know, real world as it gets. That's what this test is here today. So yeah, Matt, we switched trucks. So why don't you just give me, you know, your very first initial impressions jumping in the GMC out of the Ram. What do you think? Is there anything that really jumps out at you?
So overall, I do think that this interior is just, I don't know, more plush, I would say, just more comfortable. The Duratracks are humming away in my ear, but that's the same in both trucks. I was kind of expecting them to be a little quieter over here, so, you know, I'm splitting hairs, but maybe a little nitpicky on that one. Overall, though, this feels like a nicer interior.
Yeah, and of course, GM is happy to hear you say that because they came back and redesigned the interiors on their trucks just this year for 2023. When they rolled out in 2019, they were good trucks with ugly interiors, straight up. And that's one area where Ram has always really excelled, is how nice their interiors were. So this Ram is still gorgeous. I don't really have many issues with the interior here. I will just say, though, once you get in the Sierra, it is absolutely as nice, if not nicer, than what Ram is doing. So GM, you know, it took them kind of the better part of 3 years, but they have caught up in that interior game now. Because yeah, I think it's pretty gorgeous up there too. In terms of the way they drive, these trucks are very similar. They're both quiet and they're both comfortable. I will say that the Ram is a little bit stiffer and a little bit twitchy in the rear end, almost a little bit more truck-like compared to the GMC. Matt, you have that great Multimatic suspension, and that's what it's designed to do, soak up the road underneath you at higher speeds, and I think it does a real nice job. Now, I think that helps to explain why I have a higher tow rating than you do, is because my suspension's a little bit stiffer. However, just day-to-day driving, yeah, the Sierra is also a little bit nicer to drive.
A little bit smoother, it handles nicer. I did notice on a few of those snowy roads that the Ram translated a lot of the bumps and ruts and ice bumps into the cab, whereas over here it just seemed to eat them up. And I did notice this morning, though, when we were running, that the tire pressure differences in the two. And I actually think this might have a lot to do with the ride handling, to be honest. You're pushing over 50 PSI back there, whereas I'm only running 40. And 10 doesn't sound like a drastic number, but in terms of how much give you'll have in that tire and how much more road force that'll be able to absorb, that's significant. It would certainly contribute to how you're feeling back there.
Interesting.
And we're coming to the end of the drive, folks. I just turned 100 kilometers back here in the Ram, and I can see the gas station up ahead. So we're gonna pull in, we'll fuel up both the trucks exactly like how we fueled them up the first time. That is going up until it clicks once, waiting, and then going till it clicks again. And then we'll be able to actually look at, you know, the receipts and figure out the fuel consumption ourselves, which is always interesting, Matt, to see sort of how the real world math compares to what the fuel trip computer actually says.
It is. You and I were talking off camera about it. a lot of these computers don't take into account idle time, and one engine's running longer than the other. So, you know, the number may look a little bit better in one truck, but in reality, this one was off a lot of the time, so it actually used less to do that drive.
Sure, yeah, so that's why we like to do it ourselves. And here we are, Matt, back at the gas station. So let's pull in, I'll come and park right next to you, and then we'll do a little reveal of what our computers actually say. Oh, perfect, you go up forward, I'm in the pump right behind, yeah? Okay, Matt, so we're pulled in, what's your number?
I'm sitting here at the pump, I am showing 104.9 kilometers. And I averaged 12.8 liters per 100 kilometers at an average speed of 67.9 kilometers an hour.
Interesting. All right, Matt. Well, now don't ask me why, but for some reason I'm only showing 103 kilometers. So our trips were obviously not calculating exactly the same, but over 103 kilometers, I did 13.3 liters per 100. So according to the computer, you were more efficient than me, but let's jump out and fill them up now, and then we'll figure it out ourselves.
All right.
Okay, now we're parked. We're going to work out the fuel economy. One thing we have to tell you about, for whatever reason, the GMC over there thinks we did 104.7 kilometers, and the Ram thinks we did 103. There's a 1.7 kilometer difference.
We have no idea where that came from or why they calculated differently.
Yeah, sometimes when you change tire size, that'll throw off your odometer, but these are both stock tires on these trucks, so they just seem to calculate a little
different. We drove
different.
the same loop, nose to tail, save for maybe one extra lane change, which shouldn't throw it off. We don't know. We don't know why it's so off.
Yeah, we honestly don't. So we're going with the Ram number. We're going with 103 kilometers for both trucks to at least try to keep our calculations as even as possible.
All right.
And even 1.7K is not going to throw it off that much. So here in the Ram, Matthew, I put in 16.48 liters of fuel.
Yep, we're going to go ahead and divide that by our 103 kilometers.
Exactly.
And then we're going to multiply that by our 100, and we are going to get exactly even 16 liters per 100 kilometers.
Wow, not only is that not a great number, that's quite a bit worse than what the computer said as well.
Quite a bit worse. 3 liters off?
Well, yeah, about 3 liters per 100 worse, so that's crazy.
All right, next
Let's
up.
see if the GMC is also worse. So in the GMC, we put in 12.45 liters of fuel.
Yep, and divide that by the 103. That's a funkier number. Multiply by 100, and we come out with 12.08 liters.
Wow.
Per 100.
We'll call it 12.1.
Yeah, 12.1, whatever. Regardless.
That's amazing. That's a significant difference, and that's basically exactly what the computer said over there, right? Just a little bit worse than that.
Yeah.
That's a huge difference.
Well, it's a 4-liter disparity for a 100-kilometer drive.
Yeah.
And today's prices, literally, there's a $6 difference it cost us to commute today.
Yeah, so there you go, folks. I mean, I think this kind of definitively proves it. The GMC is going to be a little more efficient than the Ram.
Yeah.
Well, folks, we have arrived at the end of this one, and I've got to tell you, after our day of testing, the winner seems obvious. The Ram Rebel is pretty good, but it's not as good as this GMC Sierra AT4X. This truck just has more off-road gear, more luxurious interior, and it's gonna burn less fuel. So for all those reasons, I would definitely choose this GMC. So, like I said, that's it for this one. Now, of course, I need to hear from you. Go below into the comments. Let me know all of your thoughts on these two trucks. While you're down there, don't forget to hit like, hit subscribe, hit join to become a member of our channel, and then come right back here to Truck King to see what we're testing next. See ya.